Hello everyone, my name is Ricky. I'm a sophomore here at UNC Chapel Hill, and in this video I want to share my thoughts on going to college and also share some pros and cons. So some of these points are going to be a bit general, but for the most part, I'm going to try to speak from my experience here at UNC. Some of the reasons why I decided to attend college in the first place was that I was still unsure what I wanted to do as a career. So I just felt that going to college would give me time to decide and also explore. Both of my parents are also immigrants, so if you can relate, you've probably felt that expectation for you to go to college from your parents as well. Even though I believe companies are shifting away from requiring college degrees now, I still think it's a pretty safe play as long as you don't fall too far into debt with it. And so my overall goal here is to get my degree and also learn as well, but my main motivation is that degree. So starting off with the pros, I feel like most colleges, especially state ones like UNC, are extremely diverse in terms of the people that you see here. In my opinion, this is the greatest pro of a college because becoming familiar with people from not just different backgrounds and cultures, but also people with different views on life than you will open your mind a bit more and help you understand people a lot better. Colleges also gives you access to experts in almost every subject that you can think of. So like all my professors either have doctoral degrees, went to grad school, or is a current grad student working on their degree. Either way, they're gonna have extensive knowledge in their fields. So what I'm trying to get at is that being a college student here gives me an inherent connection to all these experts. It makes it easier to reach out if I have questions. Being able to directly ask an expert about a specific question I might have is different from looking it up online, because although the knowledge is there, the specific question I might have may not have been asked yet. So being able to directly ask that person makes it a lot easier to get the answer that you want. UNC also gives access to many facilities like gyms, sports fields, courts, libraries, where you would normally need to pay a membership fee in order to get access to. And in terms of the libraries, they don't only let you check out books, but I also think that they let you check out stuff like equipment as well, like camera gear or I think like tripods you can check out from the libraries. So even though they're not too good, they still have that option for you to be able to check them out if you want to get into photography or video making and stuff like that. In terms of resources, schools provide us with so many useful resources that we would have to pay for if we weren't students here. For example, the libraries give us access to huge databases for research purposes and also access to publications like the New York Times. For if you want to read up on the news and stuff, you have access to those publications. And my favorite is the access to the professional programs that they provide, like the Microsoft Office apps and Adobe Cloud. So I really like to use the Photoshop, Lightroom, and also Premiere Pro from the Adobe Cloud. And those would probably cost me around $30 per month. I wanted to purchase them myself from the Adobe site. College students also get a variety of discounts and benefits from stores. So for example, I believe that the Amazon Prime and Spotify premium subscriptions are cheaper if you're a student. And a lot of online stores also have student discounts if you connect your college credentials or give them your student email. So in college, you also get the opportunity to experiment to figure out what you're interested in and what you're not. Although you don't necessarily need college for this, it does help a lot because of the variety of classes and organizations that you could do and be a part of. College is also a safe choice in terms of job security as long as you can afford it, because having a degree is still better than not having one, right? So for cost of attendance, UNC is a public school, so at least it's cheaper than the private ones. Although the estimated cost of attendance added up is around $25,000 a year here. So the school meets 100% of financial need, but apparently only about 92% of freshmen with financial need received aid, which I don't really see how that makes sense if I'm being honest. Because how would you have 100% financial need met if only 92% of incoming freshmen received aid? But for the most part, if a student needs the financial aid, they'll probably receive it. I'm also actually pretty surprised here that only 45% of the students receive aid. I thought it would be more than that, but I guess not. So I believe that the main con of going to college would be the opportunity cost of doing so. So in my opinion, the reality is that you don't really need to go to college to make money, and going to college doesn't necessarily guarantee you to make money, right? Some common examples of this I usually throw around are plumbers and electricians, where they would go to a couple years of trade school, get some experience, and then it wouldn't be too unusual for them to make 6 figures a year after that. But also not everyone wants to do these jobs, so it is also possible to learn skills like video editing and freelance edit, or do editing for, say, a YouTuber or something. But I'm pretty sure that space is pretty competitive, so people can also start a business if they have money from a part-time job or something, and get into entrepreneurship as well. Full-time students probably also aren't making too much money as well, because it's hard to balance being a student full-time with even a part-time job. So that means money isn't really coming in while you're studying as a student. But on the flip side, if you don't go to school, you can work a job instead and also do some side hustles to make money. I also think that a lot of the stuff that we learn in school and in an academic setting aren't really practical. Like, I'm pretty sure everyone has experienced this before, where you learn something in class and then wonder where you would need to apply that. I also don't remember much of the material from my classes when I'm done with them either, so I think that just shows that we don't directly use a lot of the stuff that we learn. I do want to add that school does teach us how to think, and it also exposes us to a variety of different subjects that we probably wouldn't learn outside of school. Speaking on cost again, I think it can also be a con. As we saw earlier, according to College Board, about 45% of the students here at UNC receive aid, which means that around 55% don't, and are either paying out of pocket or are taking out loans in order to attend. And I believe that a good portion of this 45% of students receiving financial aid are probably also paying out of pocket or taking out loans as well, because need-based aid usually doesn't cover the full cost of attendance unless the student's family makes very little money. This screenshot here also shows that the average debt of students after they graduate from UNC is around $20,000, which is still a pretty substantial amount, especially if they don't have jobs lined up for after they're done with school. I also want to say here that a common argument against going to college is that students leave with $100,000 in debt, which is the common figure that people like to use on the internet, especially on the entrepreneurial side of it. And the problem with that is that they don't account for the financial aid that most students get if they need it, right? But for the most part, not just UNC, but most schools will give at least some financial aid for those with families who are really in need. The 20K average debt shows that the people who are in need are receiving financial aid, and that generally students rarely pay the $100,000 over the 4 years, unless the schools or like the FAFSA application sees that their families are able to support it. But anyways, those are some of my thoughts on attending college that I ended up sharing in a pros and cons format. But there's also probably a lot of stuff that I missed, but I just wanted to mention these things because I felt that they impacted me the most. Anyways, thank you for watching my second video on this channel, because this one took a minute to record. And I also appreciate it if you have any suggestions on video ideas to leave them in the comments below. Sure.